Rory Calder stepped off the rusted bridge into Ashbridge, a town cloaked in fog and silence that pressed against him like a living thing. His short brown hair was damp from the mist, and his hazel eyes scanned the streets with a mixture of curiosity and caution. The air smelled faintly of smoke and damp timber, curling upward in slow, deliberate plumes that twisted into strange, intricate shapes. Rory shivered, sensing patterns he couldn't explain, as if the town itself was watching him. Across the river, the abandoned factory released a thick spiral of smoke that seemed almost purposeful, curling into sharp angles and symbols that pricked at his memory. Every instinct screamed that something was waiting for him here, a presence lurking behind the shadows of the derelict buildings. Tess Monroe, with her long black straight hair perfectly in place and sharp blue eyes, met him at the edge of the street, her heart-shaped face calm yet taut with anticipation. Her slim figure, draped in a navy coat and black boots, moved with a precision that made her seem almost part of the town's secret machinery. As Rory and Tess exchanged a tense glance, the smoke above twisted again, forming shapes that seemed to beckon them forward, pulling them into a mystery that had been waiting for centuries. Inside the dusty, dimly lit archives, Rory and Tess pored over brittle manuscripts, their pages yellowed with age and etched with symbols that mirrored the smoke spirals outside. Rory's hazel eyes flicked back and forth, tracing the sequences as though they could explain themselves if only he looked hard enough. Tess leaned close, her long black hair falling precisely the same way each time, brushing against her shoulders as she pointed at one faded illustration. Her blue eyes shone with intensity as she whispered about Ashbridge's forgotten warnings, tales of a watcher that lived in the mist, a spirit of vengeance bound by ancient rituals. That night, as Rory slept, he dreamed of smoke that rose like living fingers, curling into shapes that formed cryptic messages he could feel but not read. The dream pressed against him with a weight so real it left his chest tight and his skin crawling. He woke with a start, Tess's voice echoing in his memory. Some patterns are not meant to be followed, Rory. Some patterns are meant to warn. But his fascination, mingled with fear, would not let him turn away. Ashbridge awoke to a cold, unnatural stillness, as though the town itself held its breath. Jared Whitman, the reclusive historian, had vanished. His cabin was a scene of chaos, overturned furniture, scattered papers, and a strange residue of ash forming intricate symbols on the floor. No footprints led away, no sign of struggle beyond the disturbance of the room. Rory's mind raced, connecting the ash patterns to the smoke he had seen at the factory, realizing with a growing dread that the symbols were predictive, marking the doomed before they vanished. Tess stood beside him, her blue eyes wide, her heart-shaped face drawn tight with worry. Her navy coat rustled softly as she shifted, black boots scuffing the floor as they inspected the cabin. Whispers spread through the town like wildfire, tales of curses and specters feeding on fear. Rory's pulse throbbed with urgency. He could sense the invisible web tying the symbols, the missing, and the factory together, and he knew that unless he understood it, more would vanish as night fell, thick and suffocating, as Rory convinced Tess to follow him into the factory district. Rusted steel towers loomed in the fog, their skeletal frames cutting jagged lines into the grey sky. The smoke here was heavier, curling in almost deliberate shapes, forming faces and hands that seemed to reach for them from the darkness. Every step they took echoed unnaturally in the abandoned buildings, amplifying the tension that pressed down like a physical weight. Deep within the district, they discovered a hidden doorway that led into a labyrinth of tunnels, walls etched with the same cryptic symbols Rory had seen in dreams. He traced one with trembling fingers, realizing it predicted tonight, their exact path. The sensation of being watched was unbearable, every shadow shifting and twisting as if alive. Tess clutched his arm, fear etched into her heart-shaped face, long black hair falling in the same precise strands, eyes wide and alert. The labyrinth seemed infinite, yet they pressed forward, driven by the need to confront the force behind the smoke patterns before it claimed another victim. The tunnels pulsed with a living malice, the smoke thick and curling like a predator's breath. From the shadows emerged the Watcher, a gaunt figure partially obscured by ash and smoke, its presence exuding an unnatural hunger. Rory's heart pounded as he faced it, short brown hair damp and sticking slightly to his forehead, hazel eyes wide with terror yet burning with determination. Tess, standing beside him, her long black hair perfectly in place, blue eyes glinting with fear, gripped his arm, refusing to let go. The Watcher moved silently, leaving symbols in the air wherever it passed, marking the walls with a precision that sent chills through them both. Rory realized, with a horrifying clarity, that it was not human. It fed on fear and despair, drawing victims into the smoke until nothing remained. Each breath they took seemed drawn into the entity itself, the twisting ash whispering threats in a language older than the town. Rory and Tess returned to the archive, desperate to understand what they were facing. Old manuscripts and diaries revealed a dark truth. Centuries ago, a cult had trapped a spirit of vengeance in the smoke to punish betrayal, and the symbols were part warning, part ritual. Rory traced patterns feverishly, his hazel eyes scanning sequences that made Tess shiver beside him, long black hair falling in the same perfect strands, her slim frame tense. They realized that to stop the Watcher, they had to predict its movements, anticipate the next symbol, and confront it in the lair it had claimed beneath the factory. Each revelation tightened the knot of fear in their chests, but determination pushed them forward. Rory's mind raced with logic and dread. Tess's blue eyes mirrored his resolve even as fear threatened to overwhelm her. The town, unaware, slept under the shadow of an ancient force that would not rest until it had claimed every secret it was owed.